So hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar and happy Volunteers Week. It's just gone 1 o'clock, so I'm just going to give everybody a chance to join. Do feel free to drop into the Q&A box and say hi. We've disabled the chat feature as we've discovered it can cause problems for some people using screen readers, but the Q&A option is still live. So we'll just wait a few more moments. See more people joining. Okay, I'll give it a couple more moments and then we'll make a start. Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome to our webinar, How Volunteering Can Benefit You or Your Organisation with Capgemini. It's Volunteers Week, so happy Volunteers Week to you all, and thank you for joining us and getting involved. I'm Annie Mannion, and I'm Digital Marketing Manager at AbilityNet, and I'll be running you through today's session. So just to go through a few bits of housekeeping, we've got live captions provided by My Clear Text, so thank you Claire in the background doing that. You can turn them on using the CC option on the control panel, and additional captions are available via streamtext.net/player?event=AbilityNet. Then slides are available at slideshare.net/AbilityNet, and then also on our website at abilitynet.org.uk/volunteer webinar 2023. So if you have any technical issues or you need to leave early, don't worry, you'll receive an email in a couple of days' time with the recording, the transcript and the slides. And then depending on how you joined the webinar, you'll find a Q&A window. So if you want to ask the panel any questions, do drop those in the Q&A area for them to address. Any that we're unable to cover in today's session will be answered and then added to our website at /volunteer webinar 2023. And then just a quick reminder for people that have joined a bit later, we've switched off the chat feature just as we've discovered it can cause problems for people using screen readers. So, but please just use the Q&A field for any comments. And then just lastly, we have a feedback survey you'll be directed to at the end. So please do complete that if you're able. Okay, so for those of you that aren't yet familiar with AbilityNet, we're now celebrating our 25th year this year. So we support older people and people living with any disability or impairment to use technology to achieve their goals at home, at work and in education. We do this by providing specialist advice, services, digital accessibility testing and training, disability inclusion services and free information like this webinar. And today we're going to be discussing how volunteering not only provides valuable help to people who need it, but also the real advantages that volunteering can bring to organisations who encourage volunteering from their workforce. So today we have joining us, we have Bethan Richmond, who's Digital Inclusion Programme Manager for Capgemini UK, and she manages the company's employee volunteering programme. And Bethan's joined by her colleague, Darren Fox-Hall, who's a Senior Project Manager at Capgemini, and he'll be discussing his experience of volunteering with AbilityNet as part of his role. Then we also have Jamie Robson, who is an AbilityNet tech volunteer and administrator, and he'll be sharing his volunteering experiences and tips. And then Joe Tunezi, who is a community relationship officer at AbilityNet, and he'll be discussing how the volunteering programme at AbilityNet works and why you should get involved. So hopefully by the end of today, you'll all be inspired and raring to go. So I'm just going to start with a poll to find out a bit more about you all before we begin the webinar content. So I'll just launch that now. So you should be able to see, are you considering becoming an AbilityNet Tech volunteer? So the answers you could choose from are yes, and I'm here to find out more about it. No, but I'm interested in corporate social responsibility. No, but I'm interested in how volunteers can help me or my organization. I'm already an AbilityNet volunteer, or not applicable. So just depending on how you joined the webinar, you may find you can't see the poll, but you can respond in the Q&A panel as well. So just leave a little bit of time to make sure that everybody gets a chance to vote. You can see nearly everybody's voted, a few more umming and ahhing. Okay, I'll give it a couple more moments. Okay, and I'll end the poll now and see the results. So the largest set of respondents is 29%, and that's yes, I'm here to find out more about it. Then we have 26% are no, but I'm interested in corporate social responsibility. Then at 19% each, we have no, but I'm interested in how volunteers can help me or my organization. And also I'm already an AbilityNet volunteer. And then 6% not applicable. Okay. So moving on from the poll, I'd now like to introduce AbilityNet's Joe Tunezi, who will be discussing how getting involved as an organisation with AbilityNet brings lots of benefits, and sharing what AbilityNet volunteers get up to.
Thanks, Annie. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Volunteers Week. Thanks for joining us today to learn more about how volunteering can benefit you. I'm Joe. I'm the Community Relationship Officer here for AbilityNet in London. I'm just going to give you a quick look at what volunteering for AbilityNet entails and what we mean when we say CSR. So what is CSR? So CSR stands for Corporate Social Responsibility. It's a means for businesses and corporate entities to support charitable causes, utilizing their resources or workforce in support of charities like ours. So one way we see this take shape within AbilityNet is through volunteering, where organizations support and encourage their staff to volunteer with us, particularly in cases where that business's focus is around tech. Capgemini is a fantastic example of a business taking advantage of our CSR programs, and you'll be hearing more from them in just a short while. So just onto a little bit of background now on our tech volunteers. There are over 350 volunteers as of right now, spread out across the United Kingdom, and from a variety of personal and professional backgrounds. Our volunteers are checked and cleared every 2 years with an enhanced DBS. They carry ID with them so they can easily identify themselves. They undergo regular training to keep up to date with assistive technology, accessibility, new apps, types of devices, that sort of thing. We also have volunteer coordinators who are, for the most part, volunteers themselves. They manage each region and support volunteers' activities on like a more local level. We also have a central admin team in Warwick who support volunteers and take inquiries both over the phone and through email, often arranging volunteer support for people in the UK. And also we like to make sure our volunteers feel well supported, and so they're surveyed twice a year on how satisfied they are with volunteering with us. We value this feedback we get a lot, and we have a rating of 8.9 out of 10, putting us in the top 5% of non-profit organizations, which is, awesome. So just want to talk now a little bit about the invaluable role that volunteers play in providing IT support. So here's some common examples of the support our volunteers deliver. Volunteers lend a hand in setting up new computer systems. This includes like assembling hardware components, connecting peripherals, ensuring everything's in working order. They're great at troubleshooting IT issues. They can help identify and resolve common problems, software trouble, network connectivity issues, hardware malfunctions. They can assist in changing accessibility settings to cater to the specific needs of the individual. So whether that's adjusting font sizes, enabling screen readers, or customizing keyboard shortcuts, volunteers help to make technology more accessible and inclusive for all users. And they can also provide basic training on how to use various computer systems. So they can guide users through the essentials, such as navigating the operating system, using common software applications, managing files and folders, and just practicing good cybersecurity habits. What this does is it empowers people to confidently use technology, which is really at the heart of what we do. So overall, the value of our volunteers, what they bring to the charity is absolutely immense. And they truly do really change the lives of the people they're supporting. The support is hugely significant. And I think from everyone here at AbilityNet, we appreciate it a great deal. So yeah, just finally, just want to reach out to those of you answering the poll who might feel that you too can offer some of your time and support, or those of you who feel like your organization could like meaningfully contribute in a way. You don't need to be a tech whiz by any measure. You're likely to pick up new skills and knowledge along the way. The link is here on the slide if you want to know more. It's www.abilitynet.org.uk/volunteers. And you can also send an email to volunteers@abilitynet.org.uk. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to hand you over now to Bethan from Capgemini.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Hopefully it's given you a good idea of the flavour of AbilityNet's volunteering programme. So yeah, I'd like to welcome Bethan Richmond to outline how Capgemini has been creating opportunities for its employees to get involved with volunteering with AbilityNet. So hi Bethan, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
I thought we could start off by setting the scene a bit at Capgemini UK, and why does Capgemini focus on digital inclusion, and what difference has your work made in this field?
Well, hello everybody. Again, thank you for having me. And so I've been a digital inclusion program manager here now in Capgemini for maybe 6-7 years, maybe a sustainability professional for maybe the past decade. In terms of Capgemini and our focus on digital inclusion, there's really been a long-standing connection between people and technology at Capgemini since it was founded. It's been at the heart of our group for nearly 50 years now. We digitally transform services on behalf of our clients. And as a consequence, we're deeply mindful of the responsibility that brings. So we've got a responsibility both regarding the impacts of the technology, but also the risks to being excluded from the opportunities that it brings. So that's formed the basis of our mission. It's an ever interconnected world, and we want to ensure digital technology, the opportunities that it brings, remains open to everybody. No one is left behind. That's our mission. So that underpins everything that we do within this space. There's little doubt, is there, that to be digitally excluded is to be socially excluded. We also believe that digital is an enabler. But like any tool, you kind of need to employ the right one for the right task. Our people, and you'll hear from Darren later, are technology experts. Even those that aren't coders, we still have advanced digital skills. So we're really best placed to help others learn about those digital skills. So our volunteers really do form a critical part of the delivery of our programme. And everything that I'll talk about today is really around skills-based volunteering. So our entire mission, our digital inclusion mission, it's really around skills building. And in the past few years, we've had a community engagement program now, well, long before me. But in the last couple of years, we've really matured our thinking, and we really want to strengthen our focus on social impact. So rather than employee engagement, social value is really the primary driver of all of our volunteering. I mean, engagement, of course, remains a really important driver, but it's secondary to that impact. As a result, though, employee engagement has never been higher. And it really does prove that the more motivating you can be, and there's nothing more motivating than purposeful, and impactful opportunities. So that's really why we focus on digital inclusion. It's who we are, it reflects who we are, and it's where we have a responsibility.
And have you, oh, sorry, sorry, carry on.
Well, does that answer the question? Or did you want me to tell you then a little bit about maybe what difference it's made?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up with that question.
Okay. So impact measurement, I'm sure lots of people on the call will agree with me, it's really hard. But we do try and measure sort of our inputs, our outputs, and then our outcome data. Over the years, we've helped thousands of people across the UK. We've supported them in various different ways. Like I said, it's about skills building. So it's about basic digital skills through to more advanced coding training. That's where we focused. We appreciate that the digital skills spectrum is quite large. You've got really basic digital skills at one end, and then harder focused coding skills at the other. I always find it maybe quite glib to say that we've changed people's lives, but we really have. Through our work with some amazing partners, we supported people from low incomes, no incomes, through training, mentoring, and some of them now work as part of Capgemini. So we've really created career pathways. We like this idea of creating pathways, but it's opening up opportunities for people that would not have had the opportunity otherwise. That's really what we're all about. It's about creating those opportunities where there were none before. For example, I can give you an idea of one particular program we support, which is higher up the end of that spectrum, which is helping through a coding academy. We've now employed over 80 people across 8 different parts of our business who otherwise wouldn't have had the opportunity. So that's kind of the gold standard. But then we've also helped people gain confidence, helped gain an appreciation of things that they didn't think they could do. And that for us is just as fulfilling. And it's really that's the difference that we're making to people. It's also made a profound difference to our volunteers, but I'll let Darren tell you obviously more about that and about his story in a little bit.
And Darren might touch on this a little bit as well, but how exactly do you involve employees in your digital inclusion program?
So many ways. So I was thinking about this before, and I thought, well, I can distill it down maybe into 4 different points. So busy people. So how do we support people's diaries? How do we support them to get involved? Can we create sort of time boxed activities, and how do we make it easy for people? So to the first one then, remember I said it's skills based. Everything we do is about longer lasting legacy. It's about impact creation. So we try and create a range of opportunities to suit every diary. So whatever time you've got, whatever type of activity we've got a range. If you've just got half an hour, think about me and you want something maybe you can pick up and put down side of desk. Do an online CV review, or do a mock interview with somebody. If you've got a bit longer, you could come and run a half-day session with us where we give people a bit of an insight into what's it like to work in the tech sector, do an inspirational talk. So there's so many different ways you can get involved. That could be face-to-face, could be virtual. So obviously since the pandemic, we created so many virtual opportunities that really do slot into people's diaries, like any other meeting. Mm-hmm. So we really focus in on, no matter what time you've got, if you've got a heart for giving back, a bit of an appetite, we've got an opportunity for you. So to suit every diary. Second point, support. So everybody within Capgemini gets 2 working days each year where you can volunteer to share skills. You can reach out at any time. We've got things going on throughout the year, and we've got a dedicated team member who coordinates all of our centrally organised and supported volunteer opportunities. So it's about support, it's about briefings, it's about transparency and really helping and encouraging our people to get involved. Like I said, we do have opportunities throughout the year, but then we also have dedicated, we sort of time box opportunities as well. So in May and again in October, we have something we called Impact Together events. So an Impact Together week in May and an Impact Together month in October. And that's group wide as well, the one in October. A really inclusive and impactful way to offer volunteering opportunities, whilst obviously still benefiting the audiences we work with through people like AbilityNet. These are largely internally organised events, but they really shine a light on the amazing work our volunteers are doing. They provide an easy way for people to get involved. And like I said, something to suit every diary. So if you've never volunteered before and you want an easy way to get involved, check out what we're doing, and maybe you've just got half an hour. Again, if you're more seasoned, there's longer opportunities there. I think last October, we had 170 team members. We supported 15 different charities and over 400 people. And it wasn't just an engagement with those 400 people, it was an interactive engagement. It was skills building, so purposeful, impactful. And then what was the fourth point? Making it easy. So appreciating that volunteering is quite hard. People want to give back, they want to make a difference, but sometimes they don't know where to start. And that's where my team comes in, working with our charity partners, creating opportunities and ensuring they're supported. So as well as the training that volunteers receive with our charity partners, so your training is amazing, we supplement this. We've got our own digital inclusion internal learning pathway where people can understand a little bit more about what it's all about. And then we've created something we call the kit bags. So for example, if you work with a brownie group or a scout group or a football group or a dance troupe, so you've got access where you volunteer in your own time anyway, we've created these little bite-sized sessions, hour and a half, where you can lift and shift. They can be delivered by anybody with these audiences across various aspects of digital literacy. So again, it's about digital literacy and digital upskilling, if you've got access to those audiences. So that's another way we of the how we get involved. In terms of why,
yeah,
where do I start with why? Start with why. It is a personal belief. The impact that you can have through skills-based volunteering, I believe, is almost limitless. People want to see value in the time that they give. Like I've said before, purposeful volunteering requires effort. It's quite hard. So when you do this, when you put in that effort and you see the value that you're having, it's so fulfilling. I mean, that's a huge part of why. As a corporate, as an organization, our people have skills. They can be real catalysts for change in their local communities. We're also located across the UK, so we can offer support on the ground where that support is needed. As an organisation, IT organisation, we celebrate diversity of thought. It's actually something that's absolutely required if we're going to be a truly innovative organisation. What I love about volunteering is through organisations like AbilityNet, it allows our people to engage with many different aspects of society that they may not otherwise engage with. Different backgrounds, different experiences, different viewpoints. And I love this, challenging perceptions. So gaining a deeper appreciation of how some people in our communities think, what their experiences, their backgrounds are, and how they might struggle with technology, and how they can get more from it, can really be used to great effect then when delivering services for our clients. It's about opening up that diversity of thought. And I can't end a why section by commenting on the fact that it's actually just the right thing to do.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like so many valuable things going on, so much flexibility there. And I think there'll be lots of people that are on this session today just wondering, why did Capgemini start working with AbilityNet, and how did that collaboration come about?
I love this story, actually. I think it's a brilliant showcase for the benefits of networking. A senior colleague in Scotland actually had made a connection. I can't even remember how, but then connected myself in the digital inclusion team with your colleague, Chris Grant. And we simply had a chat. We chatted about our respective missions, our values, and found so much commonality. And actually nothing happened immediately. It was just the fact that we had these synergies and we carried on talking. But the obvious next step was just engaging volunteers to go through training and join the ranks, join AbilityNet's ranks, which we did. So we went out as an organisation, put a bit of a campaign together. We've now got active volunteers across various geographies, I think from Leeds to London. And we carried on talking. We found it a great plus for us because we tend to focus on our key delivery areas where we put a lot of effort into creating volunteering opportunities, but it may not actually then point to the need. So that's where AbilityNet, where the need is. So you've got access to people who are in need, and you could then link our volunteers up. Perfect. It's also incredibly flexible, so it allows our volunteers to manage around the day job and life's challenges. But it just became this sort of organically growing conversation that happened, and that's when we first started collaborating. Yeah.
Well, we're very glad that you did. So yeah, glad that serendipitous meeting happened. So I think it'd be great to bring Darren in, who's been volunteering with Capgemini for AbilityNet, just to learn a bit more about what you've been involved with as part of your volunteering role. So just wanted to ask you, why did you decide to get involved in volunteering to share your digital skills?
Well, I've been in the IT industry now for over 30 years, and not much good at anything else, I'll be honest with you. So I was looking for a charity to give something back to. I do help out another charity local to me, doing bits and pieces for them, but not IT related. And then, as Bethan said, there's this conference that we hold with Capgemini, and I went along to this particular webinar, and we talked about, giving back to IT. I thought this was perfect for me. I just want to give back to the community. That's something I know I can do and give back. And basically that it was instant. I immediately requested to go through the clearance and join AbilityNet. And it was quite good because I think you were struggling for people in my area in South Lincolnshire for volunteers. So it fitted perfectly. And I know with my skills in IT and project management that I could give something back.
Well, yeah, again, very glad that you did. And can you tell us a bit more about the clients that you've helped, and in what way? Yeah,
so I remember the very first one. Actually, it was a lady, unfortunately, in the next village from where I live. She got an iPad from her children. She lives on her own, and basically she wanted someone to give her some training on how to use it. Now, people like myself will physically just take an iPad out of box and connect it to the internet, and off we go. She didn't know how to switch it on. So, and it's made me think about, wow, this is completely different from the world I live in, where, my daughter can switch on the computer straight away without internet because I've been teaching her. So, basically that lady had to switch on the iPad, had to connect it, and we showed her how to connect it and basically look at the different programs. Again, something simple that most people pick up, going to their emails and then learn how to send an email, how to receive emails. And then the most important thing is to FaceTime her grandchildren. And that was fantastic, seeing her face. We did a FaceTime to her grandchildren and her face lit up. It's like the grandchildren in a room to her. And to me, it gave me a fuzzy feeling inside, like, this is fantastic. And I went away from that, and she asked me to go back to do some more training with her later on. And, you know, I speak to her probably once a month now just to see how she's going on. But she knows she's got someone to talk to about technically if she needs to, rather than, you know, I can go in there with a small approach, not a big one like welcome to the IT world. And that was just well rewarding for me.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like, yeah, lovely things to do. And you know, other than you know, benefiting the individual client, how do you feel that volunteering, you know, volunteering that you're involved with has helped benefit others in the local community? Have you been involved in any other projects related to this?
Yeah, so I've been involved in one of your projects, helping the Ukrainian children getting laptops. So I helped set those up. Again, that's rewarding. You know, you're thinking you're giving something back to the Ukrainian people who've come over here. And I've had a couple other calls where there've been simple fixes, you know, that they've had problems with their email and they can't understand what the problem is. So you remote control into their desktop using the tools provided by AbilityNet, and then basically just fix it. And, you know, they're so grateful that they can speak to the outside world again. So to me, it's giving back, and I'll get that again, that fuzzy feeling inside that I've helped somebody, not in my work related, but outside and my community.
Do you feel you've also personally benefited, you know, and learned something from the experience, be it training that you've received or, you know, any kind of other benefits?
Yeah, I mean, AbilityNet put on some fantastic training. There's some software out there which I didn't know existed, like a piece of software that helps with sight loss. I didn't think about how a sight loss person would use a computer. I didn't really think about it in great detail. And I learned that software with your free training, and I know I can put that to good use. And then simple things like the Amazon Alexa, the Alexa show, I got involved in that program. And then, you know, there's a webinar which was presented by a blind person who showed how much he relies on that. And again, you just don't think about that thing, and it's how much that can help to an individual. It's just fantastic.
Oh, good to hear. And why, just as a final question to both of you, why do you think initiatives like this are important and matter?
For me, it's just open the door to the community. So people that have IT issues which they don't want to present to anyone else, but they know they can rely on a charity like yourselves and volunteers like us. Giving something back is really big for me. The time that Capgemini allow us to do this as well, and the freedom is fantastic, and all the training I'm getting out of it is brilliant. So I think it's good for all round, but it's a 360 perspective for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'd have to echo that, and I think harking back to what I said earlier about that diversity of thought, about the exposure to different challenges and ways of working, different ways of thinking, it truly is invaluable. It can't put a value on it. It is priceless.
Yeah.
And then, you know, what Darren said about just seeing the look on somebody's face when they realize that they can do something they couldn't do before, or they've, you know, given them a sense of self-worth that they didn't have before. Again, how do you put a value on that? That's incredible. And that is the legacy that you're leaving as a skills-based volunteer.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, Bethan and Darren, for your time, you know,
No
sharing Capgemini's productive experience and for the valuable time you spend volunteering. Yeah, it's really just such a positive initiative. So yeah, thank you both of you. And just a quick reminder, if you have any specific questions for all the panel, we've got a Q&A coming up a little bit later. So do feel free to put your questions into the Q&A box. So I now have the pleasure of sharing with you our new Meet AbilityNet's Tech Volunteers film, which has been created to share the great work of so many volunteers like Darren and Jamie, who we'll find out a bit more about in a minute, around the UK. So over to my colleague Louise to play the film, and drum roll, please.
Meet some of the 350 plus AbilityNet tech volunteers helping disabled adults and older people access technology and get online.
Since the pandemic, we've seen that technology has become key in enabling communication and lots of different things, whether that be joining an online fitness class or being able to look up something, look up information on the internet, or have communication with family that you have not been able to visit as much. A typical session for volunteering starts with obviously firstly contacting the client and finding out a bit more by telephone about what is the actual problem that they're trying to solve. I try to make space within the time period as well for them to demonstrate back to me that they've actually understood and that they can do it independently as well. We have lots of need for fantastic volunteers because we have lots of calls that come into the team. We have fantastic regional coordinators that coordinate the work and make sure that nobody has too many calls on at once. Also, it can fit into anybody's timetable. I've got quite a demanding full-time job, so my volunteering is only limited to weekends, and I can basically choose when I volunteer.
When I help a client with the issue, it does make me feel as if I'm giving something back to the community. If they're not computer literate, for instance, it gives me great satisfaction in being able to help those people in attaining a better quality of life. It's very positive because you come away with a sense of satisfaction, a sense of that you're contributing to society. You are actually helping people who are less able than yourself. It gives me a good sense of achievement, and it actually helps with your well-being also. It's very therapeutic to be able to help someone.
I think people should be volunteering for AbilityNet and volunteering in general in their local areas, because I think in a world where technology and life is just such a fast pace, I think sometimes you really do need to slow down and look at what's around you and who's around you. I think if you just do a little bit of good, as small as that might be in various areas, then that really does make a huge difference. AbilityNet have a huge range of sources for clients and volunteers to access, specifically a source called My Computer My Way, and those who are with sight or hearing impairments. There's tools on there that can help them use their laptops. When I'm helping clients, it really does feel good, mainly because I'm very lucky to have a lifetime of skills that I've kind of acquired. I've grown up with technology, and sometimes you forget that there's people that haven't, especially the older generation, and something that might seem kind of trivial to yourself can make a huge difference to somebody who's never used a computer. And it really does, you can see it in their eyes that when they've kind of accomplished things themselves, and that smile and that energy you get from them, it's really rewarding, and I absolutely love it.
Thanks to all our amazing volunteers across the UK. Please apply to be a volunteer today to help disabled adults and older people in your community access technology and get online. www.abilitynet.org.uk/volunteers.
Great. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks also to Digit Music for providing the music for that. So now you've seen and heard a flavour of the volunteering experience. We have Jamie here to detail some of the practicalities, perks and the benefits of volunteering with AbilityNet. So over to you, Jamie.
Great, thanks very much, Annie. So my name is Jamie Robson. I actually work for AbilityNet. I'm part of the admin team. I've been there for about a year, but I've been a volunteer with AbilityNet for over 4 years now. So I'd just like to go over some of the aspects of volunteering that some people might be wondering about. So as a volunteer, I provide help to clients. It's a mixture of in-person and remote support. I have the distinction of being the most northerly volunteer in the UK. I'm right up at the top near John O'Groats. So I do local support, I do home visits, but I also do a lot of remote support, which allows me to support anyone in the UK. Remote support really came to the fore during the pandemic because for obvious reasons, we weren't able to do home visits for quite a long time. So I think that helped us push what was possible with remote support, and we got very good at it. We realized just all the things that you can actually do with remote support. To give you an example, I had a client in North Wales that I was helping last year, and he was writing a book. His wife was a stroke survivor, and he was writing a book about their experiences dealing with that, and he didn't know how to put his thoughts together. So what I was helping him with was to use Word, so he could put all his thoughts together, format it, put in pictures and things like that. And it was such a privilege to be able to help this person put together to create this bit of work. And I was delighted to hear just a few weeks ago that he's now a published author because of that work that he put in, and because he was able to put his thoughts together. He's now got his book published, and that's available on Amazon. So that's just one example of some of the things that we can do with remote support. In terms of training opportunities, we don't expect volunteers to come to AbilityNet with a full raft of technical skills. We will provide training. We have monthly sessions online to deal with specific devices and specific apps that might help clients. Every volunteer comes to this with a different mix of skills and experiences, and I think that's one of our strengths. And I wouldn't worry if you feel that as a prospective volunteer that you feel you've got any gaps, because that doesn't matter. There are other volunteers who have those particular skills if required. To give you an example, before I became a volunteer, I had never actually touched an iPad. I just had no need to, but now I'm perfectly happy to support iPads because of the training that I've received and because of the exposure supporting clients. So that, from a self-development perspective, volunteering with AbilityNet increases my skill set and keeps my skills current. So the training sessions are completely optional. You don't have to attend them, but you know, they are recommended if you're interested. We always record them as well, so if you can't make that particular session, you can catch up at a later date and watch those sessions. So as well as the training, we have lots of resources available, training resources, information resources that are available to volunteers. We also have volunteer forums, so you can share your knowledge with other volunteers, and that always works really well. You can post a question in the forum, and people are almost guaranteed to come back with helpful advice and knowledge. So in terms of awareness sessions as well as training, we also have awareness sessions for our volunteers. So that would involve people from other organizations, for instance, Parkinson's UK Macular Society. So they come in to talk to the volunteers about the challenges that their clients face living with those conditions. And those sessions, I think, are as important as the actual training sessions because it increases our awareness, it gives us a greater empathy with our clients, and it helps us to understand how technology can help people with those challenges. So yeah, I always really enjoy the awareness sessions that we have. Now, Jordan, in that video, he mentioned this resource that we have called My Computer, My Way. So this is available to everyone, not just volunteers, and you can get to it from our website. If you look in the top right-hand corner, there's a link to My Computer, My Way. So what this is, it is a collection of hundreds upon hundreds of step-by-step guides to customizing your device and making your device more accessible. Now, this is available for a wide range of devices, from different mobile phones to tablets to MacBooks to laptops, and you can filter on things like the condition that you may have or symptoms that you might have. And then when you filter on those, it will give you a list of things that might help. And then that will take you to step-by-step guides how you can customize your device. So well worth checking out, My Computer My Way. We also have a range of fact sheets available, which is always a good start if you're interested in getting support. You can find out a little bit more about what kind of things can be done. So fact sheets could cover things like funding for adapted computer systems, internet scams, smart speakers, mental health and technology, hearing loss, dementia, and we have a wide range of easy read documents in our fact sheets as well, so they're worth checking out. In terms of volunteering, I think Joe touched upon this in that video, that it is entirely flexible. You volunteer when you want to volunteer. I work full-time as well, and I fit my volunteering around my work. So I do some things in the evenings, some things at the weekends. You don't have to accept every request that comes your way as a volunteer. It might be that you feel you don't have the required skill set, or you're too busy, and that's fine. You can reject a request, if you don't feel that you have that time or that experience. But in terms of flexibility, you create the relationship between you and the client, and you meet the client or support the client whenever you want to. So in that way, it's extremely flexible. We would never want a volunteer to feel pressured, so you do as much or as little as you feel comfortable with. If you feel that you're getting too few requests, we can maybe look at doing a bit of remote support. Or if you feel that you're getting too many requests, we can always look at that as well. So you should never feel overloaded with things. The last thing I want to talk about is feedback about volunteers. Whenever a volunteer completes a support request, the client gets an opportunity to complete some feedback on how they felt that interaction with AbilityNet went. And on a daily basis, we get some amazing feedback. I'm just going to read a couple of examples of feedback that we got recently. There's hundreds and hundreds, but here's just a couple. It's hard to imagine a more patient person than Robert, who answered all my queries. I really appreciate all the help I received. Another one here. The service from you is excellent. I am 82 years old, and I could not have managed without your help. So thank you. And that, I'm constantly reminded that a lot of the people that we help would have no one else to turn to if we didn't exist, because they don't have family, they don't have friends nearby. We are their only source of support with technology. And the feedback really helps, not only AbilityNet as an organization, but the volunteers, because that shows them just how important it is, the volunteering is, and how vital it is in many cases. So as a volunteer, it's something that I've never regretted. It's such a positive thing. The feeling of well-being, Darren, you mentioned that fuzzy feeling that you get inside, that's absolutely true. And it just goes to show a little bit of knowledge on our part can make a world of difference to other people. It doesn't have to be technical support. It could be showing somebody how to do online grocery shopping so they can get something as basic as food. So it can really change people's lives and help them retain their independence as well. Access to support, access to crucial information, and being able to communicate with other people, that's the kind of thing that we can help with on a practical level. And yeah, I have no reservations about ever becoming a volunteer with AbilityNet. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jamie. You're doing some excellent work, and the item that you mentioned about the person who has published his book, you can see that news piece on our website at the moment. So yeah, do check out all the resources that Jamie's mentioned, and hopefully we've inspired you all to sign up to be volunteers. So I'm sure you've all got a lot of questions you'd like to ask. So again, if you've got any questions, do fire away in the Q&A window. But if everybody could bring their computer screens back up for the panel discussion, that would be great. And then I'll just kick off. We have a question for the guys at Capgemini. Is the option to become a volunteer within Capgemini available to all staff? And if so, do you have a feeling what the relative uptake is amongst the different groups? So for example, senior management, team management, admin, office staff.
So in answer to the first question, yes, it is, absolutely. In terms of the uptake, it is varied. I don't have the stats, but it's a good, I think we had over 800 unique individuals volunteer last year across our programs, and it really was a range. So as you can imagine, we get quite a lot of uptake from our early and emerging talents, our graduates, our apprentices. They're enthusiastic and they really want to give back. And it is a part of the reason why they join Capgemini. But equally, a range across. Like I said in the beginning, I try and create opportunities to suit every diary, but I also try and create opportunities to suit lots of different skill sets as well. So there are opportunities where I really need more of a senior executive and I need senior sponsors. So across that range, yes, I fill all of those volunteering opportunities. I'm really sorry I can't give you the statistical breakdown.
Okay.
But yeah, we do get a good level of support across the range.
Okay, and I think you mentioned there are two days available to employees if they'd like to use them, but how many hours per month does the average Capgemini employee expect to devote to volunteering in general? Is it always 2 days, or it can be?
No, there's no expectation. It's an open offer. It's very much, we foster that sort of entrepreneurial mindset within Capgemini. You know, you're a master of your own destiny, sort of thing. You manage your time. So we've got client delivery commitments. We also know people want to give back. So how do you manage it around everything? It's for people to manage. The support systems are there in place to allow them to do it. So it's not a question of asking permission. It's a question of gaining agreement. How do I manage this? How do I manage my time around this? So there's absolutely no expectation at all. It's as and when you are able, we'll have an opportunity for you to get stuck in.
Yeah, from my example, I just, the delivery exec of the account I work for, they are aware that I do this volunteering, and they know, I'll be away for an hour or so. If I need to go and see someone during the day, I tend to try and do it in the evenings, but it's not always possible because people don't like you coming around in the evening. So yeah, and it's not a problem with my account, and it's never been a problem with Capgemini. I just say I book my diary out so people can see that if they need to, and that's fine. And then the amount of hours is enough, and any extra I do in my own time, which I'm happy to do anyway.
Excellent. Okay, I have a question for everybody. So if I ask Joe first, so what would be the one thing you would say if people are sitting on the fence about volunteering or maybe introducing a similar kind of program at their organization?
I would honestly say to just give it a try, to be honest, because we don't ask too much of our volunteers, and it's completely flexible and up to you, like how much you put in, how much time you give, and whether you can accept this like this request for support, or maybe not, or maybe the next one. I would just give it a try. It's very little of investment up front, and I think you'll find, as Jamie says, that you won't have any regrets.
Does anyone have anything different to say to that, or anything to add to Joe's points?
I mean, from my point of view, as Joe and Jamie have both said, if you're really busy, and there's been times I've just said, sorry, I can't take a call at the moment, It's not a problem. You don't feel rejection to them, and they don't feel rejection from you. It's just, you know, life gets in the way. But the time I do go, I still get that fuzzy feeling even now going to see people. It's just fantastic knowing that I'm giving back. And if you're on the fence and you're worried about your time, sign up, give it a go. Just spend an hour with somebody and see how you feel after that hour. That's all I would recommend.
Excellent advice. Well, I've just checked to see what other questions we've got through. Okay. This is a question from Liz. This, I think we'll have to keep this as our final question, but any others that come through we'll answer on our webinar page after the session. So how would you advise we start up a program like this? She says it seems like a lot of work to get it up and running, but she'd love to implement a volunteering scheme. So I think that's probably one for you, Bethan.
Start simple. I think that would definitely be my overriding advice, is just start simple and start somewhere, and try. So we've built up a real sense of test and trial within our inclusion program within Capgemini, our digital inclusion program. So working with the head of digital inclusion, we didn't start here. We started small, we built on it, and we just tried. We tested something. Did it work? No, it didn't. Let's get a feedback loop going and we'll try something else. And we just built it up from there. So just pick one, like Darren said, just sign up with AbilityNet, offer it out to your volunteers, get a few more volunteers, see how they're getting on, see what other things you can get involved in. So just pick something and start small and then build it up from there.
Perfect. Great advice. Well, yeah, thanks to all of you, Bethan, Darren, Joe and Jamie and Claire with My Clear Text. So we're going to end the panel discussion now, but I've just got a few bits of information from AbilityNet I'd like to share. So just as mentioned, we offer free IT support at home and online, plus fact sheets and webinars on our website. You can also call our helpline, which is 0800 048 7642, and then get free tech support on /at-home. And then just again, another reminder, if you have the tech skills you can share as a volunteer, then we'd love to hear from you. And then we also, something else that AbilityNet volunteers are helping with is making sure that the older and disabled clients are aware of the nationwide digital switchover, and that's happening between now and 2025. So as a way to help spread the word, we've gathered together some information on our website. So do make note of everything you need to know about BT's digital voice, and you can find out more about that on our website at /digital-voice. And then also, we'd love it if you would be happy to vote for AbilityNet. We've been nominated for a Digital SME of the Year award in the Digital Leaders 100 Awards. So if you're able to vote for us in the People's Choice Awards, it's open until midday on the 21st of June. And you can see our entry and cast your vote at digileaders100.com/digital-SME. So yeah, thank you if you can. And then we also run training sessions on digital accessibility and inclusion. And you can find out more at abilitynet.org.uk/training. And a reminder, if you use the code AbilityNet Webinar 10 when booking, you can save 10% on all of the courses. One coming up is how to produce accessible videos, and that's on the 15th of June. But we also have a free course coming up on the 20th of July, which is how to build a disability inclusive workplace. And then we also have options for broad staff training via flexible e-learning options. So employees can complete them online at any time. And in particular, we're focusing on how you can help yourselves to produce accessible content. So do check that out at e-learning-workplace. And then just finally, you can sign up to our newsletter for the latest announcements about digital accessibility. We also have accessibility services for all types of organisations. And then we have our next free webinars, which you can access at /webinars. So thanks again to everyone who's joined us. Happy Volunteers Week, and do complete the feedback form. You'll be directed to at the end, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Bye, everybody.